Welcome to the Experts in Fire podcast. I'm Mike Vennard, your host, and with me today is Randy Mowry. He's one of our master hearth professionals here at Woodland Direct. Today's episode is how to achieve your ultimate kitchen goals. Let's get into it. Hey Randy, how you doing today, man?
Hey Mike, how you doing today?
I'm good, man. Enjoying this heat. I know a lot of people complain about it, but you know what? We sit in snow for 3 months a year, so I'm not going to complain. I'm going to enjoy it and maybe get some tan going on later today.
It's right. It's Michigan, baby. We got to accept the sun and enjoy it as much as possible.
That's right. Randy, last time we were together, we talked about how to plan out and what to consider when planning an outdoor kitchen. If you haven't listened to the previous episode, please make sure you do, because we go through the electrical considerations, the gas line considerations, and everything you need to think about if you're buying one of these finished islands. Today, I'd like to jump into how to actually achieve that ultimate kitchen experience in your backyard. The feeling of walking out your back door and just seamlessly going from culinary awesomeness inside to culinary awesomeness outside.
Yeah, absolutely.
So first step, let's just run with, I went and bought a finished kitchen island. It's already finished. It's already the top and everything's on it. What do they need to do?
Absolutely. So ready to finish units are great in the matter of just that. This thing's going to arrive completely finished, meaning all of the tile top is done, your stucco or your stone is already in place, the double access doors, outlet on the exterior, all of that is already installed. We're going to get the grill open, want at least a couple people because the grills are going to be heavy.
Right.
So, lifting it up and setting it in place, and then making the gas connections, plugging in if it has a rotisserie or if it has lights, providing that the electrician's all done with inside of the island area and getting the electric there, just plugging that in. If there's a side burner on the grill, same thing, just get it out of the box, drop it in place, get our gas and electrical plugged in. Refrigerator, it's going to slide in because it's going to be pre-cut. The trim piece will be already on the island. Slide the appliance in, get it plugged in. And once we're all plugged in, we're operating with gas, we want to get the grill going. Let it run a little bit with that hood open. Let's make sure we've got gas flow. There's no air in the gas line. Because especially if it's a brand new gas line, there could be air in that line. Hopefully the gas contractor had bled that out.
Right.
However, it doesn't happen all the time. And what would happen is your burner will sporadically go on and off or just shut down, which may cause someone, well, why'd my burner shut down?
Right.
It could be something as simple as an air pocket.
Excellent. Yeah, that's a great tidbit right there. Tuck that away, because we do take those calls on the support side, and that customer's going, man, I just spent how much on this grill and it won't stay lit. And sometimes we do run into issues, but typically it's the supply line of the gas flow coming in. So one of the things that's super important is, if you're not comfortable playing with electricity, make sure all your electrical's set up, this thing gets set in place. It should be a quick and easy connection for your electrician to come out and do. If not, he might have already had it set up with us beforehand, so it's a plug and play type of situation. If you're uncomfortable with gas as well, always use a professional to do these types of installs.
You have fire-related questions, and we have answers. You can email us your questions at podcast@woodlanddirect.com or give us a call at 586-221-3638. We would love to be able to answer them right here on the Experts in Fire podcast.
That is already finished and it's set in place. Let's move now to a ready to finish island that we talked about in the last podcast. It can come in sections, it can come in different arenas. And let's say that island has landed as well. I've got my pallets. I can pick these sections up myself, Randy, and take them into the backyard. I've got them all, put side by side where they need to go. What do I need to do now?
Yeah, absolutely. So once our unfinished islands arrive, and you get them to the backyard, they're gonna simply screw them together. And typically with the unfinished islands when they ship, our clients are working with a landscape contractor, hardscaper. So a lot of cases, they are the ones moving and setting up. However, if you're the homeowner and you're gonna do all the finish work yourself, you're skilled in that, awesome, good on you. You're just gonna bolt the island sections together. We're gonna cut them in sections that are manageable to be carried by 1-2 people. They're gonna be bolted together. And now, because of the planning stages that we covered in previous episode, all of our cutouts are already cut out for the thickness of your granite or tile, whatever you're using on the top surface, and then whatever you're putting on the face of it. So once your island's screwed together, you're ready to start applying your finished material right away. There's nothing holding you back. There's no other prep work to be done. You're just ready to start putting that together. Once your finished work is, we'll say stone, for example. Once your face work stone is done, your tops are put in place. They're cured based on the manufacturer recommendation, what that cure time may be. Then we're going to do the same thing as a turnkey product. We're going to drop our grill in. We're going to drop our side burners in. Different with an unfinished is now you have to install the access doors. You have to install the trim pieces. So these are going to take usually some type of sheet metal screw, or depending on the finish work, maybe a masonry screw that has to go into the flanges of the doors. So this is going to require full assembly of everything, all components, all trim pieces, any interior and exterior outlets. So definitely a lot more involved than just a ready-to-finish system.
Absolutely. That's probably the biggest issue that we run into with the already finished versus the unfinished, and that is, will this match?
Yes, absolutely.
You're never gonna answer that yes, right? We do have samples available and things of that nature for sure, but that you bring a great point there. Not only that, but size as well, right? And maybe already finished isn't going to fit, or it's going to look awkward in that space because it can only come in one size. So getting it to a place where it's going to fit perfectly is important. But Randy, you brought something up that I know we deal with a lot of our clients on, and that is, I want to put this type of I just bought new granite for our kitchen the other day. So I walked through a warehouse, 2 warehouses full of different types of slabs. They all come in different types of thicknesses as well. That is something that we're going to need to be aware of. Am I right?
Absolutely. So when it comes to the planning part of it, the finished materials on our clients' end will definitely need to be chosen, because we do need the thickness of that granite top, as well as the side width. It's just going to be a stucco or what they call a dry stack stone on the face edge because of the appliances themselves. So those cutouts are different based on the thickness of the materials.
Right. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to match that hole that grill is going to set down into, so that it sits and fits perfectly. And if they give us the information and say, hey, this stone is going to be 1 inch thick on the top, and then they decide to change the countertop, which, God bless you, right? Get what's going to be best, but that countertop is now all of a sudden a 1/2 inch instead of 1 inch. That grill isn't going to set down in place because we have clearances on the bottom where your knobs and everything are, where that's going to need to set down lower now by 1/2 inch so the whole thing fits in place. And we all go through these projects, right? Especially if we're trying to do an unfinished island and make everything match. We're forced to make decisions here, there, and everywhere, and every single decision can trickle down to final fit and finish, and it didn't work. So make sure you keep these types of things in mind while you're working through your project. Now, Randy, when they put these things in place, when I set these cabinets in place, do I just set them down on my patio and off I go? Or do I need to level them? What do I need to do?
That's a good question, Mike. Leveling is always important. We're hoping when the brick pavers or the concrete is poured, that is all going to be level for where this island is is going to be going, and it's going to be placed. We did that in our planning part of it. Okay, the island themselves, in most cases, it's not like a glide that you're going to thumb churn like you do your furniture inside the house. This is going to be something that's going to have to be shimmed, and you're going to want to use some type of like composite shim. I wouldn't recommend wood shims because they'll just deteriorate, rot away. So you just use like a composite shim made out of plastic, durable, designed for outdoors, and shim it that way. And it's usually very minimal if the foundation is done properly.
Awesome. Yeah, another good tidbit there. You know, a lot of people just want to run and grab the 50-cent or $1.50, I think it is, for a pack of wood shims.
Wood shims.
Yeah, definitely get something.
They'll be good for the first season.
Right. And then all of a sudden everything starts moving. What happened here? Yeah, good point. All right, so
why is my beer bottle sliding off the iron?
It's just coming to you. That's all. You got to sit in the right spot.
Right.
So, okay, we've got this island in place. It's much like putting kitchen cabinets together. You know, you're going to screw them together as well. You talked a little bit about the work of having to fit all of these things, make sure they're level, so that ultimately your countertop goes on nice and flat, and it looks really good. So each one of these components, doors and drawers, or especially I think immediately of a refrigerator opening, right? There's always a stainless piece that goes around that cut opening, and you have to be aware of that piece going on there because it's going to make it nice. It's going to finish it out real nice.
Yeah, it's a trim piece, and you don't want to, if you stone all the way to that opening edge, it's going to be, son, can you go grab the stone cutter for me? I got to trim this back a bit.
I'm picturing people with a grinder because I've done it before, right? We've all been there. Yeah. We've definitely done it. Trying to just cut that little bit off of there, and that's always the worst part. And let me be quick here in terms of when it comes to finished islands and ready to finish islands. What we're talking about are really hardy board screwed to metal studs that in most areas of the country they're gonna work out really well. I know there are some places in the Northeast and even in the Metro Detroit area here where we are, where it snows a lot up north, that some people, they just prefer not to put that type of product into the elements that we live through here. So in terms of those two, they're going to go into place super easy. The first one, already finished. Ready to finish is going to go into place. You know, if you're a fairly good DIYer, it's not going to be too long. You can level it, shim it, get it in place, screw it together. And then you have the work of now you've got to skin it. You got to put the top on it. You know, you got to make sure your openings are cut properly for the top that you put in place. And you would work with your stone fabricator, or if you're tiling it yourself, that's things you would have to work around. But same thing we talked about with the other one. You still got to run the plumbing. You still got to run the electrical. You got to make sure all of that stuff is in place. The gas line is ready, stubbed, and then run the gas once you put in the actual components. I did want to touch base on the hardscape side, or I know you call it site built, right? So this takes it, really in my mind, this takes it to a different level. You know, this is a level of masonry type work that you don't have to do with the other. However, I know that is what's preferred in the Northeast, across Michigan and the Upper Peninsula, Minnesota. You know, where we see more of the elements is the snow side of the elements. So let's talk to that real fast, Randy.
We have a lot of folks that will have their contractors, or if a contractor is working on a commercial property, maybe it's a hotel in Florida where they have hurricanes. They might actually build on-site CMU blocks, cinder block, as a lot of places call it, and they'll build it up with those blocks. And it's kind of like the unfinished in the same cases. We need the information on maybe the thickness of the materials a little bit to kind of help them out, because they're going to need the cutouts on their own, because they're actually doing all the cutouts. So from us, we're going to work and provide all the specifications on the components that the client is choosing, so that when that is being built out of CMU block, all of those on-site cuts are correct for everything, for the appliance to fit within the finished materials that they're doing. The only difference between the ready to finish that we provide and the site build is just that, it's the materials. We're building metal stud, hardy board, cement board, permaboard, which is impervious to weather, that's portable, movable. It could even when it's all put together, if somebody really wanted to, they could probably pick it up, forklift it, move it if they really wanted to. CMU block, brick pavers. I've even seen poured wall. They've done poured wall grill islands. These are permanent structures, and they follow the same guidelines for all of the builds, the electrician, the plumbing, all of our planning specs. And from us, it's more of helping provide the correct specs for all of their cutouts.
Yeah, that's a great point right there. So once you land on, and this is important to point out because people want to go out and just do the block work. You know, I've got a weekend, I'm going to tackle the block work. And then they call us and go, okay, here's my opening size. You done did it backwards, right? You really need to hone in on, okay, what products am I going to put into this? And now I have to build around the spec sheets for those products. And ultimately, that is going to give the best experience, and that is going to give you the best experience if you're building this thing yourself or your contractor. And that's going to be the first thing a contractor asks for is, I need to see the spec sheets. I need to be able to pull this information in so I can make sure that my dimensions are correct.
Yeah, it takes us back to the planning part. And there's nothing wrong with the CMU block or like any kind of poured or stone island at all. You just want to make sure that you get those dimensions on the front end, or more importantly, choose your appliances before the mason starts work.
We are here to help. I don't ever want our listeners to feel like they have to be perfect. We all forget, particular things as we're going through it, and it's okay. I'll state again, just a good phrase to live by: slow your roll. Sometimes we just need to slow our rolls and look around, reconsider, but we all get going, especially if you do this for a living. You got to get to the next project. You got to get to the next job. That's what we're here to help you do. We focus on this. So when you call us, we try to take some of that thinking process for you to make sure that, okay, let's just go through the checklist. Let's make sure you're looking at everything you need to look at. Have you considered this? Have you considered that? And that's how we want to help. You have a lot of experience, Randy, on the site built stuff. I know you've done that type of work in your past as a GC. And that's why it's always fun to talk to you, because I got to be honest, it doesn't even cross my mind.
Yeah, and the thing is we don't expect everybody to know these things. Just little things like a gas timer, like we talked about, previously. In the commercial application, architects and designers, they do an awesome job, but then sometimes like little things like that may get missed.
That's a great point. The work in and of itself isn't difficult. It's really the timing, the planning, the preparation, the understanding, and that's what every pro brings to the table. So I agree, Randy. We don't want our listeners to get overwhelmed. We do want to offer great advice, things that they can walk away with, tuck away, and say, okay, I need to keep that in mind as I walk through my planning and preparation. And then ultimately, we want to offer ourselves to say, hey, we have this information. And the best part is, if we don't have it, he's got access to 24 other master hearth professionals on that floor, as well as all of our manufacturers. They employ technical specialists that we can reach out to them and get the data, get the information, so that you can make sure you're putting the right product in place or doing the right thing in your backyard so you can enjoy an amazing experience around fire. So I want to thank everybody for listening today. Thank you, Randy, for your time, brother. I really do appreciate you.
Thank you, Mike. Always a great time, sir.
You have been listening to the Experts in Fire podcast by Woodland Direct. I'm Mike Vennard. Thanks for joining us today. Next time, we'll discuss, can I convert my wood fireplace to gas? We'll see you then.